On the issue that brings us here today, I want to first disclose that Robbie Parker is a former constituent of mine. His eldest daughter, his 6-year-old daughter, Emily, was killed in a shooting that is painful for any of us to recall, but most especially for him. And so I want to thank him and pay tribute to his bravery and his courage for being here a second time. Also, in the interest of full disclosure, I should tell you that the Connecticut firm representing him in his lawsuit against Alex Jones is one where one of my sons, my oldest son, works as a lawyer, but he and I have not discussed this case. Mr. Parker and other parents of those children repeatedly went to Google. When Alex Jones and others used YouTube to quote, and I'm quoting him, regurgitate demonstrably and undeniably false information about the Sandy Hook shooting, while simultaneously attacking victims' families for profit, end quote. These lies were more than just false, they were malicious, they were cruel, they incited harassment, physical threats. They forced this family literally every day to relive their loss. And as Robbie Parker told us last time he was here, for too long Google and its peers were, quote unquote, complacent to the threats. This stuff is not speech, it's incitement, harassment, defamation. I respectfully suggest whatever your machines are, they're not working. Would you agree?
Senator, if I may, just again, our hearts go out to Mr. Parker and his family for that tragedy. We believe that hoax videos of the kind that you reference and he had to experience have no place on any of our platforms. And we have taken the challenge, the need to address that very seriously, including most recently amending our policies earlier this year, our community guidelines, to make clear that any such video that comes up will be taken down immediately. We again, given the quantity of video that gets uploaded at any point in time, we have to depend on tools, on machines to try and spot those videos. We constantly are trying to improve them, and they are improving. Where we miss something and it gets caught by another, a viewer, we then take action against it.
Well, speaking for Mr. Robbie Parker, who's not here today, but Annie Parker is, these kinds of policies, guidelines, forgive me, platitudes, are no substitute for effective enforcement. And I have said, if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times, the best policies, the best laws that we make are dead letter unless they're effectively enforced. I say that as someone who spent most of my career in enforcement, not legislating. And I have to conclude, given what I saw before today and then what Senator Hirono showed you, that the machines are not working and that you are dependent as much on the victims coming to you, and then often the victims not believed or not heeded. And I guess I'm looking for a commitment that you'll do better machines, or you'll have different ways of detecting and different ways of enforcing, but again, not just guidelines or policies, but actually investing in what's needed to make these policies and guidelines real.
Senator, you absolutely have our my commitment that will continue to invest in that space. All I can tell you is we don't want those kinds of videos up. It's certainly not conducive to the kind of community we're looking to build at YouTube. It is, given the sheer quantity of video that gets uploaded, it is a tough computer science challenge. But we can continue.
You're the ones who upload it.
Well,
You're
individuals
the one
will be
responsible for it. You happen to have a provision of law that dates from the inception of the internet that gives you, in my view, a very excessively broad shield of immunity. We can debate the merits of Section 230 at another time, but you can't simply unleash the monster and say it's too big to control. You have a moral responsibility, even if you have that legal protection. And again, with all due respect, I think there is a moral imperative here, and the hourglass has run out.
We agree that it is a responsibility that we and all platforms have to make sure that videos like that don't appear on our system.
And what specific steps are you going to take besides guidelines and policy?
A lot of it will come down to improving the algorithms. Improving the effectively the tools, the machine learning tools that we have to spot videos, to spot violative videos. Again, I will say that there's dramatic improvements happening in this space as technology improves. And we're already catching far more. People will sometimes put up videos that contain snippets or will contain a bit of video and then intersliced with other forms of video and then back to the video. So there's all sorts of tools that people sometimes try to utilize to get around our policies. And again, we're training machines to try and catch those as well. Ultimately, technology is going to have to be part of the solution here, and we're working.
My time is limited, but I want to ask you just a couple more questions. Has Google committed to an independent audit of how it enforces these policies, as Facebook and Twitter have promised?
We consult with many people on trying to figure out what the best way of meeting these challenges are, Senator. So we look to them for input on how we're doing. We're looking for advice on how best to meet the challenges.
About an independent audit. Facebook and Twitter promised it. Have you committed to it? I think the answer is no.
Not along the lines of what exactly you're referencing, I think, but we do.
The answer is no. Why not?
Well, are you talking about against hoax videos specifically, Senator?
Well, they've committed to an independent audit of how their policies and guidelines are enforced.
Again, there are a lot of individual policies and guidelines that we apply. So YouTube community guidelines is an example, our advertising guidelines, our search rater guidelines. There are a lot of different guidelines. Each one, we utilize different forms of effectively testing and verification to see how we're doing. So I'm not sure that a single audit of the entirety of what our guidelines or policies are.
Serving with InfoWars is a great honor, but I still need my morning coffee. And luckily, our break room at the InfoWars headquarters is stocked full of high-quality InfoWars Store Patriot Blend coffee. Grown in the high mountains of southern Mexico, the Chiapas farmers grow 100% organic, non-GMO coffee at the ideal altitude for the perfect cup. A robust coffee with great flavor and mild acidity. There has never been a more important time to support InfoWars. So if you love coffee and if you want to fight for freedom, then you can help. Order now at the InfoWars store. Sign up for AutoShip and get your own high-quality supply of Patriot Blend coffee delivered right to your door at InfoWarsStore.com.